Hi, this is Kenneth Kwan here, and together, I'm here with Andy Lopata from all the way from UK. He's a networking expert. So, Andy, I'm just curious. People make a lot of mistakes with collecting tons of name cards in events, and they don't know what to do with it. Do you have any tips?
Yeah, I have a lot. How long have you got?
Okay.
People seem to think that success in networking is about numbers.
Collecting name cards.
Yeah. How many name cards can you collect? How many
Yeah.
contacts can you get on LinkedIn? How many friends on Facebook? How many followers on Twitter?
You mean that's not important?
On its own, no.
Okay. Sure.
It's this misguided belief that success lies in size of network.
True.
But numbers are no good if there's nothing that lies beneath them. Networking, strong networking, is founded on relationships, deep relationships, and you can't build a strong relationship with a huge group of people.
Okay.
So you're much better focusing on finding people you have a rapport with, people that you have things in common with, people who you like and who you'll be happy to spend time with, and deepen the relationship with those people rather than just going for sheer scale.
Okay. So imagine right now I have one whole stack of name cards that I've collected, and probably I didn't do a very good job in getting to know them very well.
Yeah.
What can I do with it right now?
If that moment's passed, then I guess you take them one by one. What I would do in that situation is I would look at each name card in turn.
Okay.
And I would say, do I remember that person? Do I remember where we met? I might look them up on LinkedIn or their website. If I can't remember them at all, then it's like a name and address out of a phone book. There's no value. If you can remember your conversation, if you remember where you met but you just haven't been in touch, send them a message and say, hey, I know I haven't been in touch, I just found your business card, I feel terrible that I haven't been talking to you, and I think we should reignite this relationship, something along those lines. And then you judge on their response. Not all of them will respond. Some of them will think, "Who the hell is that?" But you're looking, you're looking for the ones that are going to respond, and that'll be great. But you have to own the fact that you weren't following up in the first place. Right.
And Andy, could you share with me what are the typical networking errors that people make?
Again, how long have you got? So the biggest error is that people, when they hear the term networking, they think of networking events, they think of people exchanging name cards and elevator pitches, and selling.
Okay.
It's selling. I meet you at an event, I sell to you. Now, if everyone in that event is selling to everyone else, then who's buying?
True.
So that's a huge mistake. Again, it goes back to this idea of relationships. The second biggest mistake is not following up. Now, if we've had, it goes back to your last question, but if we've had that conversation and you haven't followed up with me, now, if our conversation was 5 minutes, you've wasted 5 minutes of your life and 5 minutes of my life.
True.
Because you haven't followed up.
True.
The initial conversation is not the activity that counts. It's everything you do afterwards. So I'm back in Singapore after 3 months, after first coming here in May. Made a lot of good connections, including you. Now, if I hadn't followed up with people and we hadn't spoken on Facebook and connected on LinkedIn, people would probably have forgotten me already. But secondly, by coming back so quickly and making sure that I reconnected with many of the people that I met the first time, I'm increasing my chances of building relationships. So as I go forward, whenever I come here, people know me, they like me, they trust me. I'm not starting again every time. So that follow-up part of it is absolutely key. And what I was doing just before you came here was following up from last night, following up from a few people from Hong Kong last week, and actually doing a second follow-up with some of the people I met in Hong Kong last week. So it's the second step in building the relationship. Many people forget to do that.
So what's a typical step to following up, following up with people?
So I mentioned that
what do you do?
I mentioned I was taking the second step with some people from last week. So someone in one of my workshops many years ago said they'd heard a technique and it worked so well. And it's 24, 7, 30.
24/7/30.
24/7/30. You follow up within 24 hours. You want to show you're reliable. Some people say, doesn't that make you look desperate? It's not dating. Okay, you want to look professional, you want to look reliable. You want to follow up with people while they remember your conversation.
Right.
So 24 hours, then again within a week. So what I might do, I've just sent someone I met last week a LinkedIn connection request.
Right.
So I didn't send it on the day. I sent an email on the day after we met saying great to meet you. But then now I send a LinkedIn request personalised. Hey, I'm going to come back to that stuff with you next week. We talked about, and did you meet with the other person I introduced you to? By the way, should we connect here? So it's a conversation, not just will you connect with me on LinkedIn.
I see.
And then next week or the week after, so within a month, I'll go back to him again with a third point of contact. Now, those 3 points of contact in a month will mean that he knows who I am. I'm part of his network. And then there are two other things I would suggest in terms of longer term follow-up. One, and I've talked about it already, is use social media effectively, not just LinkedIn. Follow people on Twitter, friend people on Facebook, and if you see their updates, support them. Press like, comment, share them, retweet, because by doing that you're supporting them and you're staying inside in mind. And then finally, every follow-up you do, where possible and where appropriate, should be about the other person, not about you. And so think of ways you can stay in people's minds by giving them things that will interest them. So you see a blog or an article, you send it, I saw this and thought of you. Not, here's my latest blog or article. Here's something I think you'll find interesting.
I see. And do you have any advice for people who, you know, some people just think that networking is only for the salespeople, you know. But I'm just an engineer. Why would I ever need to network? You know, I'm doing something that is on the back end services. So why?
Well, when I teach a lot of my clients, and I work with a lot of groups. In fact, out here I've been working with a lot of groups who are not salespeople. I've been working with analysts. I've been working with very technical people. They're not in a sales role, but there's a number of things. Number one, networking can help them in their role. It gives access to information, access to ideas. It gives you different inputs so that you're not only relying on your own way of looking at the world and solving challenges. It gives you connections to key people who are going to make a difference and help you move things forward. But also it's important to you personally, not just in your role but in your career. Researchers called Mondo Frank did some research a number of years ago where they looked at the different factors in getting promotion, and they identified 3 factors. The research is known as PI, because the 3 factors were performance, image, exposure. Now most people, and particularly those who are in non-sales roles, think if I do a good job, I'll get promotion. Mondo Frank found that performance was 10%. 10% of the factor of promotion. The other 2 areas, image and exposure, were the key ones. 30% on image, 60% on exposure. It doesn't matter if you do a good job if no one knows about it. When a promotion panel gets together, it's several people. Now if your line manager is saying you're really good at what you do, Kenneth is great, Kenneth is technically excellent, the rest are going, who's Kenneth? Well then, you know, you're not going to get that role. So we all need to build networks for our personal development as much as for our job.
Wow, there's so much here that Andy has shared with us. So you know, what I will encourage you is to go out there and effectively network, you know, follow up with people. Don't just collect a stack of name cards, but be meaningful in your connections. And people refer people because they are emotionally connected to them as well. So here's Andy Lopata all the way from the UK. So I will put him into the link below. Alright, thank you very much. See you next time.
Thank you, Singapore.